Hello, my friends and fellow financial analysts. We are still working on, let me turn my viewfinder around so I can see myself. Just call me Donald Trump. I really like seeing myself on camera. Can you see me? Can you see me? Okay. So we're working on case 7, too hot to handle. And one thing I want to point out to you, I made a mistake in my operating cash flows with depreciation. And the mistake that I made was I divided the cost of each unit, that includes the setup cost, by the number of years of the useful life of the unit, 8 years and 5 years to do depreciation. We're not supposed to do that. On page 75, we're going to use 5 years for each piece of equipment. Even though the useful life is different, we're using the actual useful life. For purposes of accounting, we're using 5 years. So the way everything was set up, all I had to do was say that depreciation was equal to the cost of each piece of equipment divided by 5. Okay, straight line. All right, so that changed things a little bit. So you need to plug that into your spreadsheet. All right, now we're supposed to do break even. This is a little bit unusual to do break even for a project that doesn't have any SG&A, because typically your fixed cost for a project is the SG&A for cash. To do a cash break even, you take your SG&A fixed cost divided by your contribution margin, and your contribution margin is your price per unit minus your variable costs per unit. So what I've done here is call it break-even analysis, and I've got it for the dome and for the bed. And let's start with the total equipment cost. How many units, how many tanning sessions do we have to have in order to pay off the machine? Okay, 8,300 and 3,000. And so price minus variable cost is $3 minus our total variable costs, which is over here. So total variable cost per session, price per session minus total variable cost per session. Okay, and so the contribution margin is $2.67, $3 minus the cost. And so if you divide the equipment cost by your contribution margin, this is the number of units that you have to, this is the number of tanning sessions that has to be done in order to pay the machine off. And of course, when we go back to see, even under a worst case scenario, let's see, sessions per hour, sessions per year, under a worst case scenario, we do 4,200 tanning sessions, and the break even is 3,100 and 1,100. So we do 4,200 versus 3,100, and roughly 3,200 versus 1,100. So we're going to pay for the machine very quickly, even under the worst case scenario. Okay. All right. Under the operating, I call it the operating, similar to the accounting break even. We take the fixed cost, which is depreciation, so we're ignoring the equipment cost. We take the depreciation, which is our fixed cost, and we divide it by the contribution margin, and the contribution margin is the $3 minus the 32.5 cents, so $2.67. So if we do 621 tanning sessions, then we'll cover the depreciation for the year. For the dome, and 224 tanning sessions covers the depreciation for the bed. Now the financial takes taxes into consideration. So we have our depreciation and we have our contribution margin, and then if we multiply our contribution margin by 30%, we get our taxes. This is financial break-even. It includes taxes. So the after-tax contribution margin is the $2.67 contribution margin minus the 80 cents per session taxes, $1.87, and if we divide the $16.60 by the $1.87, we get 888 tanning sessions necessary to cover our depreciation. Under the dome, under the bed, 320 sessions. Just out of curiosity, let's take the dome cost, let's say cost of equipment, and let's put the dome here, and let's put the bed here, and then let's put the after-tax, let's call it, whoops, after-tax contribution margin, and that is going to be here. And let's see what our break-even is in units, and that is equal to this divided by this, and let's go ahead and take a couple of the, there we go. So we need to do 4,400 tanning sessions after taxes to break even on the dome, to pay the equipment off the dome. So it's going to be a year and a month or two, a year and a month, and 1,600 tanning sessions to break even on the bed, and under worst case scenario, wow, we're still, so we break even on that bed a lot quicker, boy. 1,600 sessions, and we're going to do, under the worst case scenario, we'll do 3,100 sessions. That's 50% occupancy. Okay, so there's our break-even analysis. I hope these numbers make sense to you. I'll post the spreadsheet so you can see where I got them, and we'll go on to question 3 in the next session. All right, that's it for now. That was quick. Peace out. Shalom.